recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Duncan, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, the use of e-cigarettes is common among our youth, and the reported deaths and illnesses that have been associated with that are incredibly worrisome. The issue, as I see it, isn't necessarily about vape or vaping products as much it is about how these devices are abused. I thank the witnesses for being here to help us understand the issue better so that we can hopefully find appropriate solutions. But I believe the immediate answer is for our youth to stop buying black market pods and stop trying to get high by lacing these pods with THC. That seems to be the common thread. I believe it's crucial that we look further into the THC counterfeit black market products that people are buying and vaping. I understand these products have a short history, but we need to have all the facts before we can fully remedy the situation. So I'm going to ask both witnesses here today. I understand that patients with reported lung illnesses have admitted to using e-cigarettes containing just THC and nicotine, and just nicotine. But does CDC and or the FDA believe that THC counterfeit black market vaping products pose a higher risk than legally sold, unadulterated nicotine cartridges used in e-cigarettes? Both witnesses.
We're concerned about both right now, and it's an ongoing investigation about the lung injury outbreak. We're very concerned about e-cigarettes and youth on an ongoing basis because the trends are increasing.
I agree with Dr. Shuckett's remarks. I think no single product has been linked to all the cases. When we test cases, products that are actually linked to cases in our lab, we find the majority are THC products, but not all of them. There are certainly nicotine-only products as well.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Are there any enforcement actions that CDC and FDA believe we should be taking against counterfeit manufacturers?
A challenging issue for the FDA, particularly around THC, which provides some jurisdictional challenges. I think we can certainly try and enforce what comes in at the borders through the international mail facilities. When it is an FDA-regulated tobacco product, we certainly have significant enforcement authorities. And as I said, we've engaged the DEA for their help on products that are more challenging for us jurisdictionally.
Dr. Shuchette?
I really think this is an extremely challenging issue. I don't have the tools, and I'm not sure what the tools are, but I think counterfeiting and there clearly are a lot of dangerous products out there.
Yeah. Given what little we know about these counterfeit products, what research or studies are currently underway to help us understand more? What are y'all doing to help us understand more?
Just briefly, the state and local public health are interviewing patients associated with the lung injury outbreak and identifying what they used, where they got it, how they used it, and providing that product information to FDA or as appropriate to DEA.
We're taking the data we're getting from CDC and other data sets and integrating that, and we have a across the agency effort involving all our scientists to think about what's the cause of this outbreak and what we can do to prevent further cases. And then I mentioned the extensive testing that we are doing in our criminal lab, our forensic chemistry lab, to identify the components and the possible contaminants.
I think there needs to be a strong public service announcement, a marketing effort, targeting the age groups of middle school and high school that are using these, even college and even young adults. 2 weeks ago, the CDC put out a statement regarding whether users should consider not using e-cigarette products at all while the investigation is ongoing. Conversely, the FDA put out a statement urging consumers to avoid buying vaping products from the street and to refrain from using THC oil or modifying using any substance to adding any substance products purchased in the stores. Why have the CDC and FDA been putting out conflicting warnings and recommendations to the public?
I would say there's no light between the recommendations that the two agencies have been putting out, and if it's interpreted as different, we want to correct that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we're in lockstep on this about the public health emergency here and the avoidance of these products by all parties except for those people who may be using them to not use combustible cigarettes. I think we do look at slightly different data sets, and we as data emerges in real time, we want to make it available to the public as quickly as possible because of the public health import of this information. But I agree, we're substantially in agreement on this.
Does it concern you at all that the federal health officials, public health officials, are putting out conflicting statements, and there will be confusion among those who are using e-cigarettes legally, not the ones that are buying the black market, not the ones that are adding things to it? There's confusion over those that are legally using vaping products? Does that concern you at all?
We strive for clear communication and want to do better.
I would agree. We have constant communication, and I think we will strive for very coordinated communication.
I think the message here today is stop putting THC products in legally purchased pods and stop buying black market pods. There's a health risk, and it is coating the lungs of our children, keeping the oxygen from making it into the system to provide oxygen to the brain. It's damaging the health of our kids, and that's the message today. Stop doing this. I yield
Gentlemen's
back.
time's